We asked those companies whether they would continue to drug test new hires if and when marijuana becomes legal in Minnesota. The majority say yes, but experts say that could backfire. To find out why, we went to a state where they're dealing with it right now. When the desert light disappears on the Las Vegas Strip, this Wednesday night awakens at a pace that is hard to match.
We came from West Virginia.
Fueled by the rush of jackpots and, for some,
that's so good.
just pot.
Good cushion, Nevada, man.
The embers of subtlety are lost in Nevada ever since it joined the latest wave of states to legalize recreational marijuana in the 2016 election. Here on the Strip, you won't have to walk far to find joints or edibles to buy. And if you're not in the market, you're guaranteed to smell it.
It smells great.
It's delicious. It's great. That's why we're here.
In Nevada, one of 10 states where it's fully legal, marijuana is now heavily grown.
Each one of these plants is like a newborn baby.
No BHO, no propane.
Heavily regulated.
This is built to be the mecca for cannabis.
And heavily consumed.
I don't know which way I want to go. My mouth is watering.
But this new oasis has triggered unexpected dilemmas when businesses try to find workers.
Every day, at least one panicked employer is like, hey, I can't fill these positions.
Thorin Towler is the head of the Nevada Association of Employers.
And I definitely understand that.
At first, he says most Nevada businesses kept drug testing job candidates and eliminated anyone who tested positive for marijuana.
You know, I started to get calls of, first it was, 10% of who I want to hire have failed THC. What do we do, Thorin? So then all of a sudden I started to hear 50% of our applicants have failed. And these are people that they had picked.
It reached the point where one of Nevada's biggest casinos and biggest employers made a change. Caesars. They came out publicly last year and said it would no longer test for marijuana before offering people a job. A spokesman called it counterproductive and said they might be missing some good candidates because of this marijuana issue.
It was a huge deal.
We test for everything besides THC.
The industry here is rejoicing
Yes.
in the gradual acceptance. Meanwhile, back in Minnesota,
we can't plan soon enough.
Christina Hogan is the head of the Minnesota chapter of the Society for Human Resource Management.
And the question really becomes, what do employers do?
To answer that question, Five Investigate surveyed nearly 150 businesses in every corner of this state, from small mom and pop shops to large corporations in a variety of industries. When it comes to legalizing marijuana, look at this. They're split right down the middle. But here's where the numbers start to change. We found of businesses who test today, the majority, 65%, say they will keep testing even if it's legal. Anyone who fails won't be hired.
They could kill someone if they're under the influence.
Sharon McCord is a recruiter for manufacturers in Red Wing. Her clients tell her it's all about safety.
Do they plan to keep drug testing candidates?
Absolutely, yes.
No question about it.
No question about it.
And in some industries, businesses won't even have a choice. Over at Walters Recycling in Blaine, the head of Human Resources says drivers are bound by the U.S. Department of Transportation's zero tolerance for marijuana.
There's a lot of other things that I'm a lot more worried about than that.
Because in the eyes of the federal government, marijuana is still illegal.
It's the least of my concerns.
This is like a first.
You guys ready?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
But in Nevada, we learned even safety-sensitive industries here started to slightly bend the rules. After struggling to fill jobs, Towler says some companies, in true Vegas form, decided to take more chances and let failing candidates wait a couple of weeks to try to pass the drug test again.
How would you describe, from an employer's perspective, this adjustment to legalized recreational marijuana?
I think it's the biggest thing in my lifetime. It's hit every employer, because there's not an employer that doesn't have to ask themselves, you know, what are we going to do?
One of the reasons Thorin says it's such a big issue is because there is no great way to test if someone is high, since traces of marijuana can stay in the system for weeks after use. We worked with the Minnesota chapter of Human Resource Management to help us get this survey in the hands of HR professionals. We put the results of our survey online. You can find that right now at kstp.com. Ryan Raish, 5 Eyewitness News.